I've always wondered what would happen if I died. Not from a place of depression, no, far from it. Mine was curiosity, deep and disturbing. Would they cry? Would they feel guilty? Or would they move on as if I never mattered? My name is Wood. I was born into a family of 7, 2 girls, 3 boys, and 2 parents who were more like struggling roommates than partners. My father, a retired mechanic with a temper, spent his afternoons in beer parlors telling lies about a better past. My mother hawked pap in the streets with a bitterness she wore like perfume. We were poor. Not the poetic kind of poor. The ugly kind. We borrowed Gary. We washed our uniforms every night. We prayed for Nipa like it was God himself. But I had something different, brains and hunger. By 17, I had won a federal government scholarship. By 22, I had completed my master's in data science in Canada. By 26, I was head of tech strategy at a multinational in Victoria Island. I didn't just leave Ejiganal. I erased it. I bought my mother a house in Okota, paid for my brother's school fees, and even sent my father an allowance, though he never stopped saying I was too proud for a girl. But no matter how much I gave, they never changed. They only took. They mocked my accent when I returned. They insulted my friends. They said I thought I was better than them. But the final blow came on my birthday. I flew in from London just to surprise my mother. I had sent money ahead to my siblings to help organize a simple family gathering. I imagined a warm evening, a few heartfelt prayers, maybe even a cake. Instead, I walked into my mother's compound to find it empty. No balloons. No chairs. No music. And worst of all, no one. I called my mother. She said she forgot. I called my sister. She said she was in traffic but posted outside with the real one's nail polish medium skin tone on Instagram. My youngest brother had sold the crate of soft drinks I sent for the guests. That night, I sat in the back seat of my car and cried. Not because they forgot my birthday, but because I finally understood. They didn't love me. They loved what I brought. And so, the idea came. What would happen if I died? What would they say? Would they cry real tears, or just argue over who gets the car? So I told my driver to take me back to Ikoyi. I locked my phones. And by the next morning, the news broke. Tragic. Nigerian tech mogul, Wood, dies in sleep during brief visit to Nigeria. The headline was written by my friend Somto, a blogger who owed me one favor. My housekeeper helped me vanish. My lawyer arranged the documentation. In just one day, I was gone. And then I waited. The reactions were not what I expected. First came the crying videos. My mother released a shaky video, crying in Igbo, begging God to return her only daughter. But in the same breath, she mentioned my property in Lekki. My sister, Uju, posted a slideshow with gospel music. We lost a queen, she typed, wearing my watch in the third picture. Then came the visitors. The cameras. The lies. But I stayed hidden in my service apartment in Chevron Estate, watching it all like a ghost. And what I saw changed me forever. Because the truth is, death reveals people more than life ever will. They fixed my burial for the second Saturday of the month. Even in death, I was being rushed. There was no proper autopsy, no questions asked, just an obituary filled with lies and a GoFundMe account that miraculously raised over 2.6 million naira in 48 hours. Funny, because I never needed help while alive. Now that I was dead, they were cashing in. But I kept quiet. Watching. The plan was simple, a closed casket wake at a rented event center in Surulere, followed by the burial in a hide vault in Ikoyi. My lawyer had sorted the paperwork. The body was just makeup on a mannequin imported from Ghana, placed in a white coffin lined with lace. But the crowd that showed up? Shocking. I saw cousins I hadn't heard from in 10 years. Ex-friends who once called me arrogant came in oversized shades, dabbing fake tears. Even my old lecturer who once said women should be quiet in tech sent flowers. But the worst? My uncle Pascal. That man had once chased my mother out of the family house barefoot with nothing but her wrapper and a torn Gonna Must Go bag. But at the wake, he wore white a border with RIP Amoka printed in gold. He took the microphone and gave a sermon so dramatic, even the pastor paused. Amoka was more than a niece to me, he said. She was like a daughter. I raised her. He raised me? This man once told my mother to sell her wrappers to pay my WAEC fees. And yet, people clapped. They clapped loud. Because no one claps for the truth. Only lies are loud. I watched the whole thing from inside a white-tinted Toyota Sienna parked right outside the event center, AC blowing gently. My driver, Chucks, sat silently beside me, watching too. I could feel his discomfort but he didn't speak. He knew not to. Then came my boyfriend. Or should I say, ex-boyfriend. Nathan. Tall. Fine. Sharp mouth. He was the only person I expected to truly mourn me. We had dated for 3 years. He had been there when I had malaria in Canada. He slept on a hospital couch for 3 nights when I had food poisoning in Abuja. He once traveled 4 hours to Ilorin just to surprise me on my birthday. But he also once said, if you ever leave me, I'd die. And yet, there he was, standing next to another girl. Not just any girl. My former roommate, Linda. Nathan had his hand around her waist. She wore a black gown that hugged her body like they were going for a club after party. I stared at her nails, red and long, scratching the back of his neck as they posed for a morning picture. I felt a crack in my chest. He didn't even wait for the soil to settle over my fake coffin before moving on. Linda, who once cried when I paid her tuition. Linda, who once said, men like Nathan are rare. Don't ever lose him. Nathan, who told me, we'll grow old together. I swear. I looked away. But there was more. Later that day, my youngest brother, Arins, got into a fistfight over my car. He told my mother he should inherit it because he was the one who helped Amoka clean it when she was alive. They argued for over 30 minutes. Right in front of my coffin. Right in front of my picture, framed and smiling, as if I approved. And my father? He wasn't crying. He was drinking in the corner of the canopy with his old mechanic friends, cracking jokes about how I should have married before dying. He said, who knows if she even wrote a will. I watched. Silent. Angry. Broken. And yet, something kept me frozen. Until I saw Mama Ifeoma. My mother's neighbor from Ejiganal. She came in quietly, no makeup, no jewelry. Just a simple iro and buba. She went straight to my coffin, touched the white flowers gently, and whispered. You deserved better, Amoka. You really did. Then she walked away, refusing the food, refusing the camera. I wept. Right there in the car. I broke down. Not because of what was said, but because one person truly mourned me. Not for what I gave. Not for my money. Just for me. That night, I sat in the hotel bathroom and looked at my face in the mirror. I had money, respect, a big name in tech, and properties across 2 continents. But the people who loved me most were either gone, or never real. The funeral taught me something the world never will. Death doesn't make people better. It only reveals what they were all along. And now, it was time. Time to return. Time to show the world that the dead girl still lives. The day I chose to return, Lagos was soaked in sunlight, ironic, because storms were about to break loose. I didn't just want to walk in like some ghost at midnight. No. I wanted to confront them all, in the brightness of day, where no one could lie their way out or pretend they didn't say what they said. I chose Sunday. After church. When the house would be full, family, neighbors, and friends still hanging around from the morning period. I wore white. Not just any white, a fitted blazer over designer trousers, heels that clicked like a judge's gavel on the pavement. My hair was curled into soft waves, and my face held the kind of calm you see in women who've been through war and survived it with scars that smile. I entered through the front gate myself. No guards. No drivers. Just me. Alive. Walking. Breathing. Amaka. The first person that saw me was my cousin Chinedu. He was drinking malt on the porch and scrolling through his phone. When he looked up and saw me, his mouth fell open like someone had hit pause on his soul. He stood up. Dropped his drink. Took a step back. Jesus. Amaka. I said nothing. I walked past him. My perfume filled the air, clean, expensive, unforgettable. As I pushed open the front door, the voices inside paused. The clatter of cutlery, the sound of distant Afrobeat from a small radio in the kitchen, all faded like a DJ pulling the plug. Then came the gasp. My mother saw me first. She stood from the couch slowly like she was rising from her own grave. Her eyes widened. Her hand flew to her chest. Amaka. Amaka. She didn't say it once. She said it like a chant. Like a prayer. Like a scream stuck between guilt and miracle. My younger brother dropped the chicken wing he was chewing. My aunt stood frozen, spoon midair. Even Uncle Pascal, who had been retelling my scholarship story like it was his doing, choked on his drink. Amaka is alive, he coughed. I looked straight at him. Yes, uncle. Very alive. And you'll return every naira you collected in my name. Silence. Hot. Thick. Heavy. Then came my mother's cry. She ran. Fell on her knees. Held my legs like they were her last chance at salvation. Amaka, my daughter. Please forgive me. I didn't know. I stopped her. You knew. You just didn't care. I sat. Everyone else stood. No one knew what to say. Then, like magic, the crowd gathered. Word spread. Amaka is alive. Neighbors peeped in. Friends rushed back. Phones came out. Live streams started. But I didn't care. I had one more visit to make. Nathan. I walked into his compound an hour later. He had just come back from the gym, shirtless, sweating, laughing on the phone. He froze when he saw me. Dropped the phone. Lindy came out in bum shorts, paused at the door, and stared at me like a ghost. Amaka, she croaked. I smiled. But it wasn't joy. It was the kind of smile you give to someone who buried you with their lies. So you both didn't waste time. Nathan tried to speak. I raised a hand. Save it. I didn't come for explanations. I came to return what you left in my flat. Your wristwatch. The one you said belonged to your late father. I thought I'd keep it in memory. But now, keep your memories to yourself. I dropped it on the floor. Turned. Walked away. I didn't die. But I saw what death looked like in people's eyes when they thought I did. And it taught me more than life ever could. I left Lagos the next morning. Flew back to Canada. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't post on Instagram. But I changed my will. And in it, I wrote, to anyone who only loved me when they thought they could gain from my absence, I leave nothing but silence. Moral lessons. People reveal their true selves when they believe you're no longer useful. Don't die to find out who loves you. Live well, love wise, and watch with your eyes wide open. Never be ashamed of your growth, because only the dead stay the same.